Gallagher Premiership is the top tier professional club rugby in England. It's home to an array of top clubs across the country. On the 17th of October 2022, players and fans were shocked when the news broke that Coventry-based club Wasps had gone into administration. To explain just how tragic this was, Wasps were one of the most successful English teams, with 6 Premiership titles and 2 European crowns, with their last European crown coming in 2007. Within just 15 years, Wasps had gone from Kings of Europe and a household name to administration. This begs the question, how is this possible for such a big historic club? Why did it happen, and what's next for Wasps? Hi guys, it's your boy Rugby Central 1. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for the recent support on the videos. Honestly, without you guys none of this would be possible. So without further ado, let's go. To understand why Wasps were regarded this highly, which is the reason this decline was so tragic, we have to look into their history. Founded in 1866 as Hampstead Football Club, a split in membership a year later led to the formation of 2 clubs, Harlequins and the other being Wasps, with their home remaining in North London. Now interestingly, the reason for the name Wasps was because in the Victorian period it was considered fashionable to be named after insects, birds and other animals. Wasps' first home was in Finchley Road, North London. Later, grounds were rented in various parts of London until 1923, when Wasps found a permanent home at Sudbury, Middlesex, eventually buying the ground outright. The side had somewhat of a renaissance during the 1930s, going unbeaten in the 1930-31 English season. To complement this, Wasps had an array of national team players from Wales and England, which for this time period was pretty remarkable. Now fast forward to the 70s, the club struggled on the field, but the 1980s saw an all-time high representation of Wasp players in the England national side, with 9 players representing the Red Roses between 1983 and 1985. The 80s would finish with mixed results, as Wasps would lose to Bath in the Anglo-Welsh Cup, in back-to-back finals in 1986 and 1987 respectively, but the 1989-90 season won their first English League title. Things off the field were equally momentous, with the club Wasps FC being split into 2 parts, an amateur side and a professional side, with the professional side becoming part of Loftus Road Holdings plc, who also owned professional football team Queen's Park Rangers. The deal saw Wasps move from their traditional Sudbury home back to London to share Queen's Park Rangers' Loftus Road Stadium, as well as change their name from Wasps FC to Wasps RFC. The 90s were pretty similar, as in 1995 Wasps once again lost to Bath in the Anglo-Welsh Cup, but a year later in the 96-97 season they'd win their second English title, and in the process would become the first team to do so in the professional era. Their league finisher would slump for the rest of the decade. In the domestic cup they shone, winning back-to-back English Cups in 1999 and 2000 respectively, but the best was yet to come, as a new century had bigger things in store. A year earlier, in the summer of 1999, the club saw a name change from Wasps RSC to London Wasps in order to differentiate from their amateur counterpart. This also saw the club adopt a new logo in order to stay connected with the club's history. The 2001-02 season saw the last game played at Loftus Road, as Wasps agreed to move out of Queen's Park Rangers Stadium to allow fellow football club Fulham FC to rent it out for 2 seasons, between 2002 and 2004, while their ground Craven Cottage was redeveloped. As a result, Wasps became tenants at Adams Park in High Wycombe from the start of the 2002-03 season, but their subsequent success at the new ground, which saw ticket sales rise 31%, meant they didn't return to Loftus Road again after Fulham left. This season would be the beginning of something special for Wasps, as under head coach Sean Edwards they made it to the final of the European Challenge Cup, Europe's second-tier club rugby union competition, beating bitter rivals Bath 48-30. They'd complement this with a Premiership title, beating Gloucester in the final 39-3 to seal their first English title since 1997, and in the process a continental double. What a way to top off the best season in the club's history thus far. But a year later they would top that, winning their first Champions Cup, Europe's top-tier club rugby union competition, by beating Toulouse 27-20 at Twickenham. Wasps complemented that the following year, again at Twickenham, by beating Bath to retain the Premiership and complete yet another double. The next season, Wasps would retain the English title for a 3rd time, beating Leicester Tigers in the final. Club director of rugby Warren Gatland, yes the same one that coaches Wales now, would leave before the 05-06 season and was replaced by Ian McGeechan. The season wouldn't be as great as the previous three, but they would finish with silverware, winning the Anglo-Welsh Cup. The 2006-07 season saw Wasps finish 5th in the Premiership, missing out on the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. However, they would make up for this by beating a strong Leicester Tigers side, 25-9 at Twickenham, to win their second Champions Cup. This was a great feat for Wasps, as Leicester were favourites, being on course for a treble after winning the Anglo-Welsh Cup and Premiership title, the latter only a week prior. During the 2007-08 season, Wasps went from 10th in the league during October to beat Leicester Tigers 26-16 in the Premiership final. This sealed a dream send-off for their retiring captain and legend Lawrence Dallaglio. It would be Wasps' 6th league title and thus cemented their status as one of England's greatest club teams. Though things look good now, they would only go downhill from here. The 2008-09 season was disappointing to say the least. With their captain having retired, many of the players failed to play to their full potential. As holders, they would finish 7th in the league and failed to reach the knockout stage of the Champions Cup and Anglo-Welsh Cup. In May of 2009, Director of Rugby Ian McGeechan had been forced to step down and was replaced by Tony Hanks. The season yet again finished trophyless, and things only got worse in the 2009-10 season, starting off with an exodus of key player departures, which included James Haskell, Tom Palmer, Ricky Flutie and Owen Redden. This was really foolish from Wasps, as selling experienced players with trophy-winning experience was only going to take the club one way: down. To make matters even worse, in late February of 2010, it was announced that one of their young star players, Danny Cipriani, would be leaving for the Melbourne Rebels in Australia, and following another poor season, longtime coach Shaun Edwards left the club in November 2011. The 2011-12 season was terrible, with Wasps finishing in their lowest position for many seasons in 11th place, narrowly avoiding relegation from the English Premiership, which was mainly due to the fact that they had the worst injury toll known to professional rugby union, being hit with a combined total of 16 serious long-term injuries and retirements. As a result, new director of rugby Dai Young, what a name by the way, recruited well through the summer, bringing in players such as Andrea Massey, 2012 Six Nations Player of the Tournament, and Stephen Jones to try and make up for the injury crisis. But yet again, the 2012-13 season finished trophyless, with an 8th place finish in the Premiership. At this point, Wasps were in a very bad state, but trust me when I say the worst was yet to come. In 2013, Cork-born insurance magnate Derek Richardson invested up to £20 million of his fortune into Wasps, which seemed great at the time, but poor financial decisions led to Wasps' decline. On the 30th of June 2014, Wasps announced that the London prefix of the name had been dropped, returning to just Wasps for the first time since their rebranding in 1999. In October 2014, Wasps announced that from December, they would play their home games at the Ryco Arena, thus permanently relocating to Coventry. And on the 14th of November 2014, Wasps confirmed the purchase of the final 50% of shares in the stadium from the Higg charity to become outright owners of the facility. This would prove to be one of the worst business decisions for the club, as being founded in London, moving to a different city in Coventry was a recipe for disaster, as they couldn't realistically expect fans to travel there every week. On top of that, as a rugby club in England, buying a 32,600 capacity stadium is unsustainable, as rugby, although it is growing, in 2014 was not a big sport, so it was highly likely that a stadium that size was barely going to be filled. And this was bad, because they had paid millions to acquire the full rights for the stadium, and a barely filled stadium means less tickets sold, and less tickets sold means less money for the club. You get the gist. I know I've gone on a bit of a tangent here, but let me put it simply. Wasp's business model was not making them profit. Buying a big stadium was a huge mistake, and as a result, they were slowly putting themselves into administration. Now back on the pitch, Wasps continued to finish trophyless, but made it to 2 Premiership finals, losing both in 2017 and 2020 respectively. However, pressure was still on the ownership, as Wasps hadn't won a trophy for over a decade, and in late 2019, Coventry Live launched an article stating that the value of Wasps Stadium had dropped by £9 million in the space of just 12 months between 2018 and 2019. The 2020-21 season saw another slump for Wasps, who fell out of the top 4 playoff positions, finishing 8th in the table, and in May 2021 it was announced that Wasps' home stadium would be renamed to the Coventry Building Society Arena, due to the sponsorship with Ryco having expired. On the 15th of May 2022, Wasps failed to pay the £35 million bond finance they had raised in 2015. However, stated that they hoped to refinance by the 13th of August. But on the 13th of August 2022, Wasps didn't refinance the bond, with owner Derek Richardson stating, "We are not in administration and we are not going to be," after rumours of administration appeared on the internet, but oh how wrong he was. The next month, Wasps Holdings announced their intention to appoint administrators due to ongoing financial difficulty. In October, due to an inability to field a team, Wasps Holdings were placed into administration, with all their players and coaching staff made redundant. The team had their results removed and thus were relegated to the RFU Championship, England's second tier. To put the final nail in the coffin, they had debts totalling 95 million Great British pounds. Jeez. However, things looked to be on the up, as on the 30th of October it was confirmed that the administrators had accepted an offer from a consortium to buy the club, meaning they met the requirements to join this season's RFU Championship. But in a strange turn of events, failure to hit a deadline to confirm the commitments made meant that Wasps' decision was rescinded, and as a result were placed at the bottom of the playing pyramid in Tier 10 of the English Rugby Union system, where they remain now. Honestly, who knows what's next for Wasps? It's such a shame that a club with such a rich history has been put in such an awful position by mismanagement and neglect. One of the most highly respected clubs is now a laughingstock at the bottom of the playing pyramid. And the worst thing is, even if someone wanted to buy the club, it would probably take another decade of smart investments in infrastructure to even try and compete at the top. Only time will tell if we'll ever see Wasps in the Premiership again. Well, you've made it to the end of the video. Make sure to like, share and subscribe for more of the best rugby content. Also, thanks for the support on the recent videos. Click here to watch either of them now. With that all said and done, it's been your boy Rugby Central 1, and I'll see you next time.